Anthropic CEO, he said within 1 year, there would be no software engineering. If you look up to their jobs page, they still are hiring more and more software engineers. If you are really building something, at least spare of your budget, first to validate the idea through a technical person. There was a trend where founders, they would just reach out to a CTO, asking them to build stuff. So you don't really need to pay a developer. That way, they found the easy way out. The definition of a software engineer has changed. You have to be a That's what I perceive, and that's what I tell to my mentees as well.
Hiring junior developer pre-COVID and now, what are the skills you have seen that junior must have?
Now, if I'm hiring a developer, you don't need the number of experience there. You just need to see they are going to be that person whom I can rely on after 5 years.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning into this podcast. The goal of this podcast is to bring real software and AI engineers to share their journeys and knowledge. So aspiring technologists like you can learn directly from experienced engineers so you can progress in your career faster. And I can't do this alone without your help. A small favor I'd like to ask from you today is to subscribe to the channel. It's completely free to do so. 83% of you who regularly listen to this show has not subscribed. So if you are one of those people, please join us and hit that subscribe button. It's the simplest free things you can do to make this channel better, because every single subscriber plays a huge role to grow the channel, and it helps us to reach our message to somebody who really need this. And as we grow the channel, we can do bigger thing, better thing, and even invite better guests. If you subscribe the channel, I'll make sure I will not let you down. If I do, let me know and hit that unsubscribe button. But I promise I won't. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Diary of a Developer. I'm really excited about the session today because we have special guest who is CTO, who have been working and helping many companies go from non-tech to tech in Sydney. So I want to have a lot of questions, a lot of conversation in a way that it's going to help you guys progress in your career. And let's see how far we can cover. So today, let's welcome Priyanka. Priyanka ji, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here today.
Thank you for your time again. And I have so much things to ask and so much question even community have asked, because I made a quick post saying, hey, I'm inviting CTO. Anybody have any questions? So I'm really excited about that. Before we go further, can you tell me more about yourself and what you do as part of the day-to-day CTO role?
So, hi everyone. This is me, Priyanka Gyawali. I'm currently working as a CTO at Uplift. I've been there for the past 2 years. I started my career as a developer basically. So I've been through the whole landscape of tech and worked in different industries, different backgrounds. So now as a CTO, my role is just to oversee the technology of a business. So from infrastructure to software to if there's any hardware involved, then hardware, like throughout leading the tech of a business, helping founders to make the right decision that's required to make the company more beneficial. And in this like ever-changing landscape now with AI, everything has been evolving so quickly. So businesses need that a technical mindset for them to make sure there's no gap between business requirements and technical deliveries.
That's great. So you definitely have made a lot of business, a lot of money, as well as have come through really tough choices you may have made, choosing the technology team and things like that. And also you said you have come from the developer background. Of course, that's the path to CTO.
Yeah, that does help. Like with this role, I know like so many other CTOs who have been doing this job who don't necessarily come from the programming background, but still they are working really well. But for me, the thing that helped me to reach here is just the background, the technical skills that I had before, the experience I had working firsthand as a developer and leading projects. I've done like a couple of project management as well, technical PM kind of roles. So that definitely helps.
Do you like as a PM or CTO?
CTO, because I get more control.
You have more like a tech background as well. I think that definitely helps.
Yes.
Versus people managing.
In fact, like I feel it very naturally comes to me.
Okay.
I know like many of my other developer friends who would never want to go into project management or even role of a CTO because it involves managing people, understanding people. I feel like that has been one of the strengths where I feel like I can naturally motivate people. So when it comes to like team leading, I don't feel like I need to give a lot of effort in that. And when I compare about PM and CTO, I would definitely go for CTO because of the amount of control you have in the things you want to implement in the business.
Women power.
Women in power, as well as, as a C-suite role, you can really drive the business.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's definitely comes up with a lot of responsibilities and challenges as well.
I have seen people with two different perspectives. There's one category of people who think that CTOs do not code. They only, ask the team to do work, or they are more focused on the business side. But the myth that with my experience I've uncovered is it consists of both. Like if needed, I have to write a code. If needed, I have to fix a bug. If needed, I have to learn a technology and teach others.
Yep.
If needed, I have to get on a sales call to make people understand what our platform is and why is it worth for them to spend money on it.
That's true.
It's a very holistic role. It touches from the developer side as well as from the founder, business logic, till investment as well, to sales. So I usually say it's such a role where you don't really get recognized well, because imagine like if we release something, then we clap for the devs, right? Oh yeah, the dev team released. And if we get sales, it's usually the sales team. Oh yeah, because of the sales team. So it's kind of like unfulfilling kind of role. But for someone like me who I get happy with small things, so I don't really care with the recognition, so I'm fine with it. But it is kind of a challenging role. If something goes wrong, if one of the junior that you have hired, if that person makes a mistake, if something goes wrong in production, then it's usually you as a CTO who have to listen to it. You don't really get the good side of things, but you get the bad side of things really quickly. So sometimes, in my CTO circle as well, we talk about this. It's kind of like unfulfilling role because you have to take on a lot of negativity and then you have to work hard. But when good things happen, it's actually like everyone's effort. When bad things happen, you're like, you are the one to blame. But it's really up to a leader to create a culture where there's no blaming culture. So what I have in my business is we have a blameless culture. Whatever happened in the business, there's no one to blame. Everyone is responsible. So we can't really pinpoint someone like who did this wrong, who did that wrong.
Yeah, instead of just finding to pinpoint somebody, let's find the way to fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a really great thing and great responsibility. So how important role is CTOs for companies' growth?
I can't stress this enough. It's so important, but many founders, they miss it. What they think is, okay, they have this idea. They're just gonna hire like a bunch of developers to do the work. And there's a huge gap in translating from non-technical perspective what they want to a technical person, and it's vice versa. So when I worked as a developer, my mindset was just about ticking off the things that's on my list. I didn't bother like, okay, how this is going to impact the sales, how this is going to hamper the business. All I was doing was just working on the task that I was given, because that's the developer mindset. So what's usually missing in businesses where they directly hire a developer, directly work with them, is they encounter tons of communication issue, where they don't understand why the devs are delaying a week more. They don't know why something has to be implemented. We can't, if there's like technical depth, then a technical person find it really difficult to make the non-technical one, founders, to make it understandable. That's why like these kind of roles, it just bridges the gap.
Because we have a lot of small to mid-sized startups. Usually either the technical person comes up with the idea and you'll start building the project. Later on, they will hire a bunch of developer, and then the technical founder struggles the position between founder and the CTOs. Right? And as a business founder, that person most of the time end up doing things that has nothing to do with the technical thing, like sales, marketing, the making deals outside. Why, on the other hand, there are people who comes up with the sales and marketing side, and they want to build a product, and they hire a bunch of people. They lose a bunch of money, and then the project is stuck there, and then they might hire, let's say, fractional CTOs or some leader. What I want to really talk here is that when is the right time for company to start introducing CTO if the startup is in the point of technologist founder startup versus non-technical founder startup? So because you have work on a small company and growing company, you have work as a fractional CTO as well as now the dedicated CTO. So you have seen a lot of experience. So I want you to walk your experience, and then if somebody right now who is planning to start their own tech startup, maybe this might help save hundreds of thousands of dollars and maybe at least a year or two just coming out of that mess.
Yeah, definitely. I've been really vocal and honest about this topic, especially with founder community. You really don't need a full-time CTO throughout your journey. You really don't need it. But the question that you asked, like, when is it really important? It is always the beginning of the project. When you have
considering the budget,
still I would say if you are really building something, at least spare 20% of your budget first to validate the idea through a technical person, even through like design process when they are creating the project architecture. That's like a foundation, right? It's just like how architectures, they have to be the one confirming things before the builders actually build the houses. So it's similar approach to that. You need someone who is very experienced and can see which tools are right for them. You don't want to spend millions and then after 2 years realize that tech was not right for them. Especially when I worked as a mobile developer, I see like many businesses choosing hybrid technology while they really had to choose native. And vice versa as well. Like every business is different. With every use case, we need to think about customized solution, right? So I feel introducing CTO, technical consultant, is very much recommended at the beginning of the project. And in between, you can have like someone fractional to just monitor how the devs are doing, to see what they have done is of good quality or not, if it's ready to be released or not. You don't necessarily need someone full-time throughout the year. It really depends on the business.
I believe there are some CTOs or fractional CTOs or consultant who probably would be happy to work with equity basis if the concept is really good. I don't know if there's such a thing.
Oh my God, I've handled this so many times, felt into traps as well.
Yeah, this is kind of crap as well, because if you don't know the founder, we don't know when they're going to leave or continue.
There was a trend where founders, they would just reach out to a CTO asking them to build stuff. So you don't really need to pay a developer. That way, they found the easy way out. Like you're not really paying a developer, you're just giving them the equity. And as a CTO, they are doing the work, they are delivering stuff. But out of that, they don't get anything. There's just equity, but equity alone is nothing. What's the value? Everyone thinks their business is going to go public within the next 2 years, but it's not going to happen. Reality is different, right? So yeah, the more I experienced these kind of conversations, equity related, I became more conscious on what value I bring and how to lead those conversations. There's still some trend, like people will always ask, if I keep my job like profile as open to work, I'll have like tons of messages saying like, I'll give you 40% of equity.
I did those messages as well.
Yeah.
So let's say before I go to more like a career related, that's the main podcast is about career, the technology, AI, all the crazy thing we're going to talk about it. But since we're talking about the CTO perspective and the founding perspective, I just want to ask one last question. Let's say if somebody who is, let's say, new CTO or somebody who have time and also have the knowledge and skill of working years in the industry, and they are considering to do, let's say, fractional CTO or collaboration CTO or co-founding CTO, whatever we call it. What do you think is to do and not to do when it comes to becoming a co-founder CTO that involves more share or equity versus the money? So basically, I want to get your opinion based on your experience. if you are planning to join the non-technical founder as a CTO, what should be the balance in terms of the ownership as well as the benefit?
When it comes to ownership, I would recommend, if the salary package and everything is good, then definitely equity is something you can compromise. If it's not, then you need to have the ownership.
Yeah, that's the part I'm more curious because I get tons of people coming saying, hey, because I am also myself a multiple startup founder and still multiple is going, and I'm pretty much on this space as well. And I got a lot of people reaching out saying, hey, I have a brilliant idea. Of course, let's hear it from you. I love to hear, and then they don't like how it ended up. Because what I have done in the past have really wasted my lot of time and money.
There's no like boilerplate solution. It really depends on the individual that you meet. Imagine the next person that you meet, who is a CTO, who you really want them to join your business. It's about convincing, it's about trust, it's about structure that you can put up in place. Many people, they just say things, but it's not in paper, right? So one thing that I really tell everyone whenever I do mentorship is, whatever someone tells you, if it's not in the paper, then it's not there. So when you deal with any kind of like equity or any kind of contractual agreement, it's very important to be very upfront, clear, have that conversation, and then you talk about the vision, idea, how you want to grow and everything. So important things have to be written and confirmed ahead of those conversations. It just saves time. Like you said, like you wasted a lot of time on people. That does happen.
Yeah, and money as well.
Yeah.
Potentially earning money. So we are still gonna more focus on the career aspect and then growth. So you mentioned that before, like as a CTO, you need to understand the technology, learn the technology sometime, teach the technology to juniors. Now, as like technology evolves, we need to evolve ourselves. So do our project. We need to adapt new technology. For example, when you work like 2-3 years ago building the system, probably you are not using any AI at that time or beyond that, before that. But now I believe you have definitely used AI, integrate AI, even create some sort of maybe solution, AI solution, which we're gonna talk more later. But now what I wanna know from CTO perspective is that who is responsible for upskilling the junior mid-level engineer? Is that the talent itself have to figure out and learn, or do you think as a good leader, CTO should provide a clear plan and structure for them to learn and grow the skill according to the company future growth? What do you see that?
It's everyone's responsibility. Like learning, growth, empowerment is everyone's responsibility. Like we can't really force someone to learn AI if they hate AI. Like I, as a CTO, I can't really get one of my developer who is very resistant of AI to get into AI, right? So they need to be curious. They need to be passionate as well. But from my perspective, as a CTO, I need to be passionate. I need to be a good team leader. Like a real world example, what I've done at Uplift is the first year I learned AI myself. I've done projects. I've done some events, some sessions at Google. And that's the way that I became comfortable how we can implement AI, and that's how I slowly introduced with the team. Like with every session I used to do, with every event I used to do, I used to have a separate session with my team. I would just share, listen, these are the things I shared with a group of people, and they would be interested. So you need to first make it interesting. Like no one would really want to do things if they are not passionate, if they don't see the value of it. So we introduced like small things. We didn't really work on the feature first. We did like small stuff, like we had a load testing problem. So we built an AI system to tackle that. So our day-to-day operation was improving because of what we have been doing. And that kind of like motivated the developers. And now they are releasing features. That's how it's going. The motivation does come from the top level, but you need to have everyone involved to stay focused.
I see like a lot of Fortune 500 companies, they are kind of making necessary to use developer, the codes and tool to write up to, 40% code, 60% raw code. What do you think about that?
Eventually, like we need to get there. It's just about how internet was or how mobile phones were introduced. Like initially, just few of the family members had mobile phone, but eventually like every one of us have, right? So it's the same approach with AI. Even though we resist for a couple of years, it's going to be there. We have to get used to it. So we just need to relax and lean into it.
That's true. The other day, it came in my mind saying, whenever there is an AI tool for coding or any integration for automation, they say, this AI doesn't do this. There is an AI gap. Have you heard about this terminology called AI gap a lot in LinkedIn? They expect the X to happen, but it hallucinates or doesn't really do fully. And when I look into that word, like what I think is that they are not fully ready to let AI to run in autopilot, but they want to use it and saying, okay, it's not ready yet. So it's like they don't want to rely on AI fully, but also want to complain that it doesn't do full work.
Because there's been so much hype about AI, like many companies, they have claimed that we really don't need software engineers.
Yeah.
AI gonna do the work. So people have this psychology now that when they use AI, the AI gonna do everything for them and they don't need to do anything. So that's how I see like people act these days. And that's the mentality that's there. But we are really far ahead from that.
What are we exactly now, do you think, as a software engineer versus the AI agentic code solution?
I feel like it's the best time to be a software engineer.
That's what I tell all the
That's
time. But
the best time
people, because you are in the business.
When I started learning iOS app development, before that I did Android app development, and I got so curious and I used to read books because there were not many tutorials on Swift. And the learning process was around like 6 months. I spent time learning that technology. But now just to learn stuff, it's so much easier, as if like you have a peer programmer next to you and you can do things, you can learn. So I feel like it's the best time for anyone to get into programming. It's just, you need to look into the positive side. I see like a lot of posts that talk about there's no role for juniors. It's very difficult to get into the tech market. But if you look into the positive side, you have more benefit than anyone else.
That's what I said. I don't know what happens after 20, maybe 28. But until then, I see this is the best time to get into software engineering.
Yeah.
Not just as a coder, as a software engineer, there's a huge difference, right?
Yeah, we shouldn't just go in with the hype. Like Anthropic, the company who created Claude, Anthropic CEO, he said that within 1 year, there would be no software engineering.
Yeah, he announced in 2023, if I'm not wrong.
And then still, if you look up to their page, jobs page, they still are hiring more and more software engineers. The definition is changed, definitely. The definition of a software engineer is changed. As I said before, you could just be an iOS developer. You could just be Android developer. But now you have to be a full stack developer. That's what I perceive, and that's what I tell to my mentees as well. Like, don't just pick up one niche. You need to, at this age of time, you need to be multi-skilled.
Yeah. It's basically you need to know the entire system from concept to deployment at some level.
Yeah, from infrastructure, how the service work, even if they are working on AI, how the AI system would work, how would the models work. So you need to have a holistic view of things.
So you probably have already worked with junior engineers and mid-level engineer, or even have involved in hiring, right? When it comes to, let's go from junior engineers, because that's where most of our listeners are going to be. And actually what I do is basically that's the part where I help junior developer becomes already fully stack. Now we adding AI. Actually, just want to talk about that. So before we had fully stack development training that takes people from concept to deployment skill. And last 6 months, I scoured through 5,000 plus jobs. Look through each keyword, did AI to do the analysis as well. And I found out that's not going to cut out in 2026 and further. So before, whole full stack development was one entire roadmap. Now we compact that into one block, and we had to add AI and data engineering on the top, plus cloud and some security.
Yeah. That's a good decision, because that's a must now. Just software development alone can be tackled, but critical thinking, how to utilize the data, how we're going to manage the data if our database is in different region, what's the compliance, what's the rules that we need to follow. These are not the things that AI would decide for you. It's up to you to decide. So we really need someone, we really need a developer who understand infrastructure, who understand security and compliance, as well as who understand software development. Saying that it can make people panic.
Yeah,
Like
that's where I was coming. So basically now people saying, okay, the junior role is gone. But yeah, I see most of the junior role are filled through reference and referral, then the job search board. And most of the grads, they just go and look into the job search portal and say there is no job. That's a complete different story. But what I want your opinion is in that, like hiring junior developer pre-COVID and now, what are the skills you have seen that junior must have?
yeah, before, if I'm hiring, then the way I hire was also
Yeah.
different, and now the way I hire is also,
Yeah, so I want you to show that. So, a lot of people, they like a lot of overhyped content in TikTok and other social media, making the early career starter really panic. And sometimes they're, okay, it's impossible thing. So I want to get your like perspective from real experiencing. In the past, this skill have got somebody hired. I have done that, for example. Now, if I want to hire some junior, maybe I would look for this, or this good to have it. So somebody who is preparing right now, they could take this benefit.
Can I say very simply?
Yeah, 100%.
The way that I used to hire before is if I'm looking for a front-end developer, then all I want is, okay, this person needs to know how to do front-end development. They need to be good at it. That's it. But now if I'm hiring a developer, I want someone who is passionate about technology.
Great.
Like, it doesn't matter if it's going to take them 2 months to learn stuff. That's fine. But they should be, passionate and should show me that they are willing to learn backend, they are willing to learn infrastructure. You don't need the number of experience there. You just need to see the drive that yes, they are going to be that person whom I can rely on after 5 years. After 5 years, they are going to be the lead and they're going to be handling everything. So anyone junior looking for a job and just dreading the whole situation, they should change the mindset. More than a skill, it's about mindset. It's about becoming a learner because everyone is a learner. There's no stopping.
True.
Like bachelor's, master's. I almost thought about doing PhD, but now I've stopped. But the learning never stops.
Yeah.
Like even working here, like till today, I have to learn something. I have to read blogs, articles, I have to learn stuff, and then I have to like implement things. I have to tell people how to do stuff. But for me to understand what the other person is saying, I need to go through the learning process. So you need to change your mindset that you don't want to be stuck on one stack. You don't want to be stuck on just learning one skill. You have to be like overall engineer. That's the concept.
Yeah, that's true. As simple as that. Can you do the job that the role asks for? Also, do you have a passion? Can you show me your dedication and passion?
Yes, yeah.
How one can show that?
Personal projects.
Like, let's say, how do I show that I'm really passionate technologist? Like, as you say, I want to have somebody with the passion.
Yeah.
So what of my character will help you judge, saying, okay, this is the person which seems like he will be a great fit for the future. So what are the character traits do you think they should have?
Actions are really important because someone who have just started out, they won't have X amount of experience, but they can have their own personal projects, their pet projects, their portfolio, things that they have done for themselves. I know like some of the developers that I've hired, they were not really experienced, but I've hired just because I could see that they really want to learn this. They really want to do things.
Yeah.
So you can
see them.
Yeah, you can see looking at their portfolio basically.
That's great advice, guys. You keep building the project, keep learning the technology. Never stop. That's a great advice. A little bit more about the current role or the role, how you get here. So as a CTO, what was the hardest decision you have ever made?
Once in a while, I need to make a hard decision because with my role, I need to trade off things. So sometime I trade off quality, sometime I trade off time, sometime I have to trade off cost. So I need to think about, okay, if this is not important, then we might not spend money on it. Or if something is really important, we might spend money on it, but we might not spend a lot of resources on it. So we need to just make some trade-off. Sometime if we can automate stuff, but that could be expensive to get an automation tool and automate it. But I need to make that decision. So it's just, trading off. There's always like every other day I need to think about, okay, what I'm going to trade off today.
Okay. Have you ever made a wrong decision that have make you feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that?
Yeah, like not all the decision as a CTO you make is
It's
going to
a
be
normal,
perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, it does teach you something. The thing is that once you've learned it, you're not going to repeat it. That's the important part of learning. But definitely there's been people that I've invested feeling that they're going to be perfect for something, but eventually I was just like draining my energy on it. There's so much of leadership learning that's there with my role, how to become a leader, how to identify the correct person for correct position. These are also some of the things that I failed, worked out.
Yeah, that's good. So, of course, I want to go back to your early days, how you started into the tech. But before that, as a women CTO, have you found anything challenging or benefit compared to the men CTO? Because we don't have many women CTO in the technology space.
Yeah, personally, I haven't found like directly any difference just because I'm a woman's CTO. Like, I haven't found a difference on that. But when it comes to like going to any event and not seeing much female, it does feel like, there's not many representation. And I feel like I wish there were more women in tech. I wish there were more women CTOs. I'm a CTO, rather male than female. That's how I go by. But the representation, it does pinch you a bit.
Oh, okay. So if there is a women technologist right now listening to you and she's not confident enough to step up herself to become CTO, maybe there could be 1,000 different reasons.
Yeah.
What can you advise them?
Maybe sharing my experience could relate. Even when I worked as a developer, like the very first 2 years of working as a developer, I had someone come over in one of the sessions. She was a technical PM. And I got so curious looking at her because of what she does at the business. And I asked her, like, how long does it take to be a technical PM? Like, such a silly question when I look back, because I was already seeing myself there. But I've just started programming, right? And she said, it's going to take 10 years. And I was like, okay, not too far, 10 years. I'm going to give 10 years of my life and I'm going to be a technical PM. So I just picked up that,
Okay.
but then didn't thought about CTO as a title of my like end goal to be a CTO. I really wanted to, have control over things. If I work on a business, I don't want to just slouch and think, okay, this business is not going well, but still I have to work on it because it basically feeds me. I didn't wanted that kind of attitude to be within me. I really wanted that control where I could convince the founders to do things certain way, which gonna help the business. So I feel like that was the motivation behind me. And even though like it didn't take me 10 years to become a CTO, like forget about the technical PM, but it's not that far if you are really into it. If you're willing to learn, if you're willing to sacrifice, if you're willing to do the hard work and to become a very self-motivated person. Like I see, like I do a lot of mentorship and I know many people, they rely on someone else for their motivation. I feel like it is something that you have to work on yourself because there's no one who understands you more than yourself.
That's true.
What's your weakness? What's your strength? So spend some time with yourself, list out things. I used to write a lot. I used to create a lot of like short-term goals, long-term goals. And that is something that shaped me. I think like anyone who wants to get into this position, it's all about understanding where you're at and what's required for you to get there and just give yourself time to get there.
And just work on it. Okay, I want to know how Priyanka today become Priyanka as a child. So I want to go back your early days of the career. How did you even get into the tech career? Where the programming concept even came?
Wow. Yeah, it made me think, very nostalgic. I wanted to become an architect.
Okay.
But because it was like 5 years of bachelor's degree in Nepal, and it just felt like so much. And then I wanted to get into civil engineering. Like everyone in my family, either they are architect, civil engineer. That was my like motivation. But then when I did my +2, I was very much inclined into physics. and maths. And then I just got introduced to computer as a course. And that was the highest I would get. I got into web development. I felt like it didn't even felt like hard work learning computer. It felt very natural to me.
Okay.
And I used to play a lot of games. And gaming is something I got so curious, like how would someone create a game like this, which, people enjoy. Then I wanted to understand the behind the scene of like how could a software where you can play a game could be evolved. So that's how I got into it. My first year of bachelor's, I got into app development. I started like creating pet projects like apps for rescue dogs. It's very random. So that's what I tell people, like, the skills, right? You know how to create an app. So you need to pick an idea, concept that's going to make you happy. So whenever you are learning, you get happy, you get the dopamine as well with what you're building.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me. I created a few of my pet projects. Other companies that hired me, I showed them like, these are the stuff that I've created. This is the what I've built. This is the stuff I've done.
Okay.
And maybe like it showed them that, okay, this person is willing to learn and she's willing to grow. And that's how it evolved.
So basically, it's like a project you have done that has helped you to get your first paying job, I would say, as a developer.
Yeah. First paying job as a developer, yes. My first paying job was consultant as well, like getting people into a university.
Okay.
So I used to do a lot of counseling.
Okay.
So I feel connecting with people, technology, that helped.
Okay, that's great. This one question I always ask my guests. So from the day you start coding to getting your first paid developer role, how long did that take for you?
Yeah, it took me almost 2-3 years.
Because what happens nowadays with the IT student graduate, they want to get job in
They
months.
expect a lot, right? That's what happens when you think about the outcome rather than the journey. I really enjoyed my journey as a developer. Like I wasn't really bothered. But the way that we are here in Australia, like the lifestyle and everything, it really compels you to do that. You don't get enough time.
Since we just touched on that, especially the international IT student, we have a lot of mentees like that, right? How do you think they can balance their time, study, work, as well as build a project so that they will soon land their dream tech job?
That's the beauty of personal projects. Imagine, like, if I'm starting out, if I have 9-to-5 job somewhere else, but I want to get into tech. But if I'm developing things for someone, I have the pressure. I have to prove someone. I can balance both. But when you're working on something that you're passionate about, just create a concept. Like, think about something. Imagine you want to build an e-commerce site. Imagine you want to build an app. So just think about something that you really enjoy doing and that you're happy to share with others, and just work on that. There's no pressure on that. You're just doing it for yourself.
So basically do what you like to do so that every time when you are available, you think about that exciting thing and then you go.
Yeah, you're not bothered. You're not doing it for someone else where you're not getting paid. That is very difficult.
Like you need to do what you don't want to do.
Yeah, our psychology, hits differently in this space. So you do something that you enjoy. It doesn't need to feel as work. You're just doing because you really like the concept. You're just using a tech, whatever it could be, app, web, AI, whatever. You're just using a tech, but your end goal, what's the outcome? You need to be in love with the outcome.
That's true. And yeah, I definitely want to touch on AI more later. The implementation use case, the hiring in AI a little bit later. Before that, I just want to catch a little bit more about your journey when, so that it resonate with other people. So if they are on that same level, they think, okay, she was also feeling this way. She was struggled the same way I am struggling. So this is CTO now. That means one day I could, for example, like you have seen somebody,
Yeah.
Was there a moment you ever felt like quitting?
The very first job I did as a CTO, I did felt like, what have I done? I was so happy as a developer, but then I got offered a role as a CTO. That's how my career started, with CTO position. And then it made me question, like, I'm very young. All these voices came in my head that were just trying to bring me down. Like maybe I'm too young, I'm a woman. It might be very difficult to gel up with men, to different stakeholders. So a lot of negativity because of the imposter syndrome as well. I was very new to this position. I was very good as a developer, but not as a CTO. So I didn't know how to manage clients. I didn't know how to go in the sales call. There were nights like I've cried. I woke up, I've learned managing a product is a big thing. So there could be people who don't agree to the way that you build, or if there's some issues where you're relying on someone. Because previously when I worked as a developer, I was the one doing stuff. So I knew, okay, I'm going to deliver this. So there was no complaints, right? But now as a CTO, I'm relying on someone else to do the work if there's any issue, but I'm the one hearing it. So I need to translate that. I need to make them understand this is very important. We need to be serious on it. So there has been a lot of learning in situations where in the initial phase, initial 6 months, I found it really difficult. But then it's just the support, your friend, it could be your friend, your partner, your parents, because they know you closely and they can see, okay, yeah, there's potential, you can do it. Don't just think about these random voices that you heard. My husband, he actually told me that at one point I was like, maybe I'm too young, because in one of the sales call, a guy was there and it was like a Zoom call, and he said, you're a CTO, you're very young to be a CTO. And I was like, oh, okay. I had this imposter syndrome and I was like, that guy told me I'm too young to be a CTO. So I was so pissed. And then my husband told me that, imagine you're feeling it. He might not have said in a very derogative way. He might have said because of amusement, or like, you don't really see some like a young girl getting on a call who says she's the CTO of a business. So it might not be normal. So then I changed my perspective. Okay, yes, it's my perspective. The way I see things can change, can make the other person comfortable as well.
Yeah.
And then after that, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to go to that question. So maybe you can share more on this if you have any experience or somebody who's exactly on that shoes. So how did you navigate your emotion, your work and family life at that time? How did you navigate through this situation?
Communication. I think communication was so important because that was very challenging personally, professionally. And I had my other projects as well. I was in such a hustle kind of mode, but communicating my emotions so that the other person can at least understand what I'm going through and what they can expect of me was important. Taking time, like counseling with myself, like taking time to understand my strength, because during these times where you feel very weak, it's so important to understand what are your strengths.
That's true.
That just
we always tend to see what we don't know.
Yeah.
What are weaknesses over what's our strength.
Yeah. So constantly realizing your self-worth. That was helpful.
That's a great advice, guys. So if you're in that situation, if you have just got promoted in any level and if you're feeling that, look into what your strengths are more than the weakness.
And also don't assume that everyone is perfect, because when you step into a new role, it's very normal for you to think that, oh, everyone is, they know what they're doing. People don't know what they're doing in professional setting as well. Like not everyone knows what they're doing, but still the world moves on. So you need to get that out of your head that, you are not just the only one who's struggling. Everyone is struggling.
And that's the process of growth. Yeah. Okay, so this is for somebody who is in that transition phase, so they can see as an instruction. Yeah, the next question. So what actually got you promoted? Technical skill, visibility, or anything else? So this is in the angle of somebody who wants to get promoted, so they'll learn something from you.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen it firsthand. Working as a developer mostly. My other colleagues would just do whatever was given. But I used to do that, and I used to even, chat with my PM, get more from them as well. Understand what kind of clients they are dealing with and pick up some of their tasks as well.
So you over-delivered.
Over-delivered, or I would say maybe like unconsciously I wanted to get into this path. That's why I wanted to learn more. I was asking questions, I was doing things. But sometimes when you are over communicative in business, it helps the other person, especially managers. Sometimes they might miss out on asking you questions. If you tell them this, your status or what you have done, it just makes the other person's lives easier. Put yourself in their shoes as well. Think from their perspective. Not just work as a developer, but think as a manager, what are the information that that person would need? And then you work on creating that. So you just add more value to yourself doing that.
And the next question is, as a new CTO or new leader, how do you resolve the conflict, or how do you deal with the team in a way that they respected you?
Trust is something like you really, I feel, need to earn through actions. Like if suddenly you expect someone to trust you, that's not going to happen. So that's something you need to build over time.
Yes.
So what I've done is basically with my development team as well, given them enough time and space for them to be creative, a space for them to tell me things that have been wrong in the business. So it's just creating that culture. It's all about culture that gets you to the point where people can respect you.
Okay, I want to talk about like where the technology heading ahead, and then a little bit of future hiring scope, where we are heading to, especially use cases of AI as well. So let's talk about that a little bit. So you definitely have used AI product, right? So can you share some of the use case of AI you have used or seen people are using across the industry?
Yeah, definitely. Few things that I can emphasize is code review is something that we used to manually do code reviews, and it consumed like a lot of our effort. But now there's tools. We use CodeRabbit. So now we use tools that automates that, give us a summary. So we just look at the summary. It just saves us like half of our time doing code review. So that's just one example of AI tool helping in day-to-day operation. But there are numerous other tools which have just accelerated development. Like the amount of time it required us back then to develop stuff, and compared to now, it's changed. So we can definitely see the growth in tools, technology, software, go-to-market is drastically changed. But again, like there's definitely some myths that maybe we'll uncover now around if it's going to replace us, if there's no roles of software engineering. So there's still some human component to things. I can't imagine like just AI agents managing everything for me. They could make bad decisions, right? It's just if it's humanly possible, it's possible that way as well.
As of now, let's say if somebody wants to build their career as a software engineer and developer, where do they start? Vibe coding or hard coding fundamentally?
There's so many options. There's not just two options. There's a lot of options. Doing courses, like courses from Udemy where you learn stuff. And if there's any issues, then you can vibe code. Then you can get help of like Cursor, different other tools. But then most important thing is understanding the end-to-end flow, not caring about syntax anymore. Like in interviews as well, like we wouldn't want our developers to know how to actually, type in the code, how to know the syntax, but they need to understand what's function calling, how you're going to manage the memory of a system and all that. So you need to have that kind of knowledge.
So they need to understand more like a overall structure of the process.
Yeah, fundamentals is really important. Yeah.
Okay, so I think, guys, we are almost close to the end. Couple of more questions to go. How have your hiring plan and budget changed in the last year and the coming financial year as a result of AI?
The way we hire is different, as I've said before. Like if I was looking for a front-end engineer, I would just want that person to be good at front-end. But now the role have changed to full stack AI, someone who is passionate about AI and someone who can do full stack as well. So the way we hire, the kind of skills, not just technical, but soft skills that we are after, that have changed. With AI, you would definitely want someone who understands simply like how to connect with LLM, how to implement, how to create APIs, implement that in existing system. No one expects an expert. Last year, I've done like 10 interviews with AI engineers. Some were like top AI engineers here. Still, there's so much that's missing.
That's true.
So there's no expert in this field. So this is such a best time. If I had another clone, I would become an AI engineer next year and apply for jobs.
That's what exactly we did. We completely revamped our like entire development coding bootcamp. As I said before, AI is at core now. You need to know how to, of course, do the basic full stack development hardcore. That's like, I believe still everybody should know that.
Yeah.
Because
it won't go away this soon.
Yeah. And once you know how to do manually, then you know how to automate it. Right?
Yeah.
And then learn to automate using AI, and then, of course, power the future with AI. What are the AI tools do you use in day-to-day life?
One, CodeRabbit. There's few other automation tools like marketing automation tool that we have. I have personally connected with LLM and created system myself, personally, kind of like AI assistant for specific problems, like the load testing solution that we created. We created a small solution. We locally hosted for our business. It just gives us a summary of the report that gets generated, sends us in Slack. So that just makes things easier. So not just the tools that you can buy, but it's so easy to create tools and have it personally. Yes. To use it to just maximize your time.
Is there anything that you like to share that we didn't cover throughout this session?
Yeah, I feel with all the hype with AI, we need to learn how to lean into it, because with any other transformation, there's definitely fear for someone joining into tech industry. It's similar to internet, mobile, all the transformation that we have seen so far. It comes with fear, but eventually you'll get used to it. And whoever resists the change, they're going to be left behind. So even if you're working as a developer, it's important to upskill yourself and learn about AI. So I want people to think from that perspective, not to dread AI, but not to restrain from it.
That's really great advice. Yeah, we need to definitely adapt AI anywhere possible. So I even talk about this all the time on my all the content. And when I advise people, there are I see 4 different level of AI in Korea. So top one is whatever you do right now, you should learn to fire yourself using AI tool, existing tool. There are
that's interesting.
That's a tool for sales, tools for marketing, tools for reporting, tools for analyzing it. But because you know the business domain well, nobody can become better at if you learn to use the tools.
Yeah, it's just going to make your life easier.
Yes, and then become more valuable in the company. And whoever resists, probably they will be fired. And you are the one who will be in the business.
If AI is something that's going to make you look smarter, then why not?
Exactly. Oh, I see a lot of people saying, no, I don't use AI. They're taking in a negative way. That's one level I see. And second level, I advise, if you want to go more in AI scope, go as a AI automation developer. But if you don't want to code, that's completely fine. There's a lot of tools out there, right?
Yeah.
Lately, the popular one is now OpenClaw.
Yeah.
Learn to use OpenClaw with Anatan or Zapier. And then the business domain, solve that, how powerful that can be.
It is.
Yeah. So that's, I call it, become a AI automation developer. And below that, I have another third level of career of AI is become AI software developer or AI full stack developer. That's the curriculum course we create here. So that means same business solution you can create, but now you have to code, because in large company, you have to build your internal tool.
Yes. Yeah. And someone who enjoys coding, it's just an add-on for them. I know when we introduced AI functionalities with our development team, initially they were it might be difficult. And when they did the work, and they were yeah, it wasn't really that difficult.
You're just calling same API as third-party API solution, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just learn how it works and call the API.
Yeah, it's just another learning.
And then the fourth level is the special role in the AI ladder that I have categorized is called machine learning engineer. That is for somebody who wants to actually create the LLMs, do fine-tuning LLMs.
Works on algorithms.
Yeah, algorithm, mathematics, and statistics.
Yeah.
And maybe I would say those are reserved for more like a AI master degree holder or PhD people. So they go through that intense foundation level, like how we used to go intense software engineering foundation.
Yeah.
So those roles are there. And the reason I categorize this is that the fourth one is really high value skill, but not many company need them.
Yeah.
How many companies going to create the LLMs?
Yeah.
Literally, right?
They're going to just plug it in.
The existing one, the top 2, 3. So as we discussed before, don't resist the AI, adapt it.
Yeah, you need to embrace AI.
Hey guys, I hope you have found tons of value from this podcast. Make sure you write down all the important information that's going to help you and take action and actually go from working as a first developer, inspire somebody working in the team as a technical PM or CTO and try to become one day. So it will help you progress further in your career. I always ask my guests, do you have any question for me? If you have any question,
What's your plan with AI?
based on my prediction and my vision, around 2035, I see most of the job will be gone for sure using AI. And a lot of people will have to or will have a leverage of working few hours a day. And most of the time they'll be finding their passion, working on more side project, again, finding a way to solve more project. And there will be a role that you have to pay actually to go to the work. So I'm really excited how I can contribute from my side to that kind of world in the positive way. So yes, with the AI, I'm actually more excited than I'm afraid of it.
Yeah,
And
really good.
I'm working on a few AI tools. I'm trying to get as depth as possible with that. That's my thing with AI.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Priyanka, for your time and valuable information.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you guys for staying all the way to the end. I'll see you in the next. Take care. Bye for now. Thank you. Hey guys, thanks for staying and listening all the way to the end. If this episode helped you, please make sure to subscribe and share it with the fellow developers. If you are serious about accelerating your career in tech, please check the link below. We run industry-focused program to help you become tech professional faster. Until next time, keep building.